11 years old, you're gonna be, you're a different breed. TBTD3. Good news is it's tonight. You don't have anything. We're gonna finish, go getting dressed, alright? We'll be done earlier today. We'll be done at 7:30, so that way you have time to.
Why?
Because they just wanted to go a little earlier, so we're just go 6:30 to 7:30. So when you come home, you can get your shower and relax.
What's up?
Quick. You look like faster. Yeah, at some point, y'all are going to be like 17, 18. I'll still be able to beat you. I'm going to be able to beat you still.
Yeah, my name in these streets like must up down the concrete like
You got it in you, but you guys won't push yourself. Here's the worst thing that's going to happen. I promise you on everything, okay? The worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to feel uncomfortable and you make it a little better. That's the worst thing that's going to happen. And if I'm wrong, let me know. Let me know. All right? Shop. Driven. I get that from my mom. My mom's that way. But it's like trying to put it in a kid. I gotta make sure I find a balance so that I'm pushing them, but I'm not pushing them. You know what I mean?
Like you weren't concerned. Oh, it's all right. So you're more like.
What do you see? What do you see? People who really understand it to the level that we do. It's like you know how to build a house. Most people know how to build a house, right? You get walls, you get wood. We know what the ingredients are to make the wood. It's got this much carbon. It has this much, like, when you know it at the lowest level, the foundation level, like, bro, it's literally like a playground. It's like,
Yeah.
you can create anything, do anything you want. Like, we're a living testament of it. I'm like, higher power was you. I just did a meditation. I said, when you get to know you, you'll get to know God. Because you were one and the same. You weren't separate. And that's why every teacher will use Jesus. That's why he said nobody gets to the Father except through me. He knew what he was. Because he knew what he was, he knew that nobody got to it because I and the Father were one. They were the same thing. The same thing. And when you come to this realization, look, if you do it right, just like they thought Jesus was crazy. They thought Jesus was crazy. They called him a heretic. They called him like, remember the Pharisees? They thought he was crazy because he knew I and the Father are one. And just like every other human who's come back, who's been what we call enlightened or a sage, or they were saying the same thing. We're one. It's one thing. Higher, lower. You got this, and you got this. But we don't realize this is this. You think, oh no, this is just not. So that's why I like that. That's when she asked me, I was like, the higher power is you. Like, there's no higher power separate from you. Nothing. And when you get to know yourself, you'll see what I'm talking about. I'm not on some like, oh, I'm just saying it. Like you really want me to break it down. There's just some things that you'd have to be able to do. You gotta be able to meditate. You gotta be able to sit with yourself. You gotta be able to contemplate. You gotta be able to reflect. And when you do all these things, you'll see that like, wait a minute, there's like a presence, there's like a knowing, there's like you'll see that God wasn't something outside of you. You were it. You were it. It was you. And now when you know this, you don't live in separation with anyone else. So now all you will do is love. All you will do is want world peace. Because you have a peace inside of you that is beyond understanding. I'll show you today. I sit here and think about like the life I'm living right now is exactly what I wrote down last year. I said I just want to be making content for a living. I say that because when you understand how this reality works, it's really like you can like, I'm not like being like figurative or like, no, literally you can create and become and do anything. I love you. Are you leaving?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'll see you. what?
Brad.
That's what it's really called? Who made that? Same people who's making the dinosaurs?
No, she studies dinosaurs. This lady does.
Those T-Rexes.
Yeah, one's a mother and one's a daughter.
Could any of this possibly be a bad thing?
Alright, come on, baby. Let's go ahead and take this walk.
I'm excited for Pete and me. We'll probably play mat ball again. Things like in whatever games we play. And then they get to only catch it, not anyone else does. Love you.
See ya.
Bye, Boo.
It's my favorite part of the day. It's me time. The couple becomes a living entity.
The unity is something in and of itself.
So 1 + 1 is really 3, it's not 2. That's the illusion that the one and the one were these two separate things that created, no, it's created a third living being. Good afternoon. Good. I'm excited about today because I told you we're going to do like a series in November. We're going to break down like really how spiritual alchemy, the stages of spiritual alchemy, right, of transforming, that's on the spiritual level. But then also too, in all of November, we're going to go through like physically how you transform your literal body, like understanding how genes work, understanding how DNA works. They're like, hey, we're getting off. Let's start another meet. They're having their own community right now. I mean, it's self-sustaining. And that's what the whole point of it. I wanted to become a living entity, a living being. And it's not dependent on a host.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not a parasite. It becomes its own thing. Benny has been instrumental on my journey of evolving. I got Benny's number through Davis because I was looking for a tattoo guy. All of a sudden during COVID of 2020, in March, I was like, I want to get a tattoo. And the first tattoo I got was the Lion of Judah on my arm that Benny did. I'm like, man, this is dope. And then that tattoo led to this tattoo, which led to this tattoo. I didn't realize at the time, Benny was like facilitating my spiritual awakening. So like he was doing pieces on me that he's like, yo, other people in the tattoo studio were like, no. They didn't want to do it. They wouldn't do it. They were like, there's no way I could do this piece. We started to have conversations and I'm like, yo, this dude knows. Like we're talking about laws of the universe. We're talking about hermeticism. We're talking about like deep stuff and he knew everything. And I realize now that Benny was put in my life at this moment because he was the only one. He was the only one who was like energetically aligned to do it.
I remember we used to work out and talk about tattoos. You're like, I'm going to go get one. But you were scared to hit your arms. You only had it on your back.
Oh, yeah. I only had tattoos where you couldn't see it because I was still living in this paradigm that my parents had put on me. Like, you can't get a job. So I was scared because if entrepreneurship doesn't work, I can always go back and get a job somewhere. So when I made this decision to get this one and this one and this one, it was like myself saying, like, I'm all in now. We're going to make this thing, hey, we're going to make it glap. We're going to make it glap.
Hey, morning, man. Good. Yeah, we got a lot of it pretty much done. Just a little bit more detail at the bottom possibly, but even that stuff looks pretty tight. And the lines held really well for a back too.
Oh, really? This section right here,
Yeah,
like
at the
what
top.
I wanted to be like, he was peeking through the veil,
Yeah.
seeing like,
Everything.
yeah. So I don't know if, like what size a spiral could be, but like whatever you could
That is wild.
draw out, like he's seeing it, like
The depths.
yeah,
Yeah, that would be cool. wanted more out of life than what I was getting, you know what I mean? And then I met Derek, man, and it just kind of went down.
It's cool, man, because you, like, when the first time you did any work on me was May of 2020, and there was nothing. And now
I remember.
Look at everything, right? Like,
Yep.
it's been, what, 3 years?
Yeah.
Really, how, like, I was telling them how, like, all these tattoos, as with most people's tattoos, like, you're telling a story. But, like, this was the evolution of, like, me, my awakening, like consciousness, and to see it, and the conversation that you and I have been having,
Yeah.
versus
Man.
the first one versus where we are now, like,
For some of the first conversations you guys had, do you remember?
We've had a lot of them.
it's weird because they were always, I mean, the first piece that you did on me was a lion with a cross.
Yeah, I remember that. That was awesome.
So everything was always super, like, probably more religious.
Yeah.
And then we started, like, moving more into spirituality, and then we started moving more into esotericism. Now, I mean, it ain't on the surface, that's for sure. I've enjoyed conversation more than I do the tattoos, and tattoos are amazing. Like, my wife even said, she's like, every time you come home, you just seem like you're, like,
Better
elevated.
mood.
Yeah, that's Benny right there.
That's the same thing my girl said.
Hey.
He's like, man, you need to tattoo Derek more often. I'm like, you're right. I do.
That's right. I'm have this whole thing from the neck down.
He'd be looking like me before it's over with.
Hey, if we keep going on the path we are, it will. I think the meaning behind this one, the one with no face ascending, like once you ascend, you become a shepherd of the world, and you have no identity anymore. You're here to help the world. That's probably my favorite meaning-wise, but like actually artwork that he's done, probably Metatron's Cube. That, I mean, just freehanding, like, straight. It's wild that he could do that.
I don't know if I'd have a favorite one.
Yeah.
You know, I like some, because all of his have meaning.
Yeah.
You know, and it's deep meaning, and it's personal, and I think when any tattoo has that, it just makes it that much cooler. You know what I mean? Probably the inner arm would be my favorite one too, just because it really broke me out of, like, I ain't gonna lie, I was kind of scared to do it. And it broke me out of my comfort zone. And that's how you grow. And you can't be scared.
Benny knows, man.
It's both your favorites too.
I do like the lion one though too. That one was,
that was
awesome.
How'd you get into tattooing, Benny? Like, what was your
Peer
origin?
pressure.
Yeah.
Because I hung out with older kids and, you know, growing up in the punk rock scene like I did, you know, everybody wanted tattoos, you know. And they knew I could draw, and I won awards and stuff as a kid, and they were like, hey man, if you can draw a skull, man, you can tattoo. I'm like, no, I can't. I don't know nothing about this stuff. You're crazy.
Growing up, did you want to be an artist?
Yeah, I always loved art. I was the guy getting in trouble in school, drawing Ninja Turtles and Ghostbusters on my folders. Teachers be like, you need to concentrate on the schoolwork. I'm like, I know. Definitely all led up to this point. That's for sure. It's a journey, man.
I got it done in February, and then I came back again in like May. And I thought it was going to be able to be done, but we've been working on this. I think this is like the 4th session on this now.
I think so, yeah.
That's one thing I love about Benny. Like, you take your time. Like you're more focused on the process instead of the product.
No, I've met a lot of really cool people, man, doing this stuff. It's just been, again, just a different kind of journey, too.
Like, energetically, you have a tie to them forever for the rest of their life. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Like, you and I are linked together forever.
Yeah.
Like,
it's true, man. Most people don't think that about that, but it is very true.
you know, it's crazy because we were talking about like how you and I met. And Davis, I asked Davis, I'm like, yo, who's the guy you get tattoos from? And you were in Carmel at the time.
Yeah.
But by the time I was like, oh great, he's in Carmel. And then by the time I was ready, you had already moved over off Washington Street. And I remember thinking to myself, like, damn, I gotta drive all the way over here? Because I'm way over in Fishers, right?
Yeah.
But then when we started like talking, I'm like, oh, this was like divinely orchestrated. I had to come to Benny. Like, there was no one else in this entire universe who was going to do this work. And I didn't even know it. And you know, every time, I mean, he's done all this, but we never know what's coming next. Say I'll call you here in a couple weeks, couple months. We'll see.
New ideas.
Yeah.
It's gonna cause pain, but the reward on the other side is so. It's worth it.
Yeah.
It's so worth it. They know it. They just got to get through it.
For sure.
BG knows it's gonna be worth it.
I feel like you indirectly talking to me right now.
That's why I brought that up right in that moment when you start grimacing.
Like my issues in life, I just try to observe them and not try to like be them. I find it hurts less when I do that. When I'm just like almost like describing to myself how it feels, and then it doesn't feel nearly as bad.
Myself, it was on my leg because you know the guys were always trying to get me to work on them, and I was like, man, I don't want to do anything on you guys and have it not come out good.
Yeah.
So I figured if I worked on myself at first, I could always fix it in the future if need be.
Yeah.
So that's what I did.
Damn.
It was pretty crazy of an experience. My parents were so strict, man. They went in my room when I was at work and they bagged up all my stuff and they threw it out. That's how much against tattoos they were, you know. Just because back then it was different, you know. It was like a whole stigma against tattooed people.
Yeah. How'd that make you feel when they did that?
Discouraged, man. Because I was doing landscaping back then and I was out in the heat working, you know. Just trying to get the money up for all this stuff, because even back then it was a little pricey. But I was like, wow. And then now everybody's got tattoos.
Huh.
My
you
mom,
changed your
my dad.
perspective?
Yeah.
You did it yourself, yeah.
Yeah. I tattooed everybody in my family.
Damn.
They're still hitting me up like, we gotta finish this arm piece.
Oh man, isn't that funny how the tables turn, right?
It is. It really is wild, you know. Especially being that like most of my family's ex-military, you know. Growing up, everybody had tattoos.
Yeah.
You know, even if it's just like a little U.S. Army thing with a flag or something.
You see me on my tippy toes, boy. You know I'm feeling it.
What is pain?
It's all in the mind right now. I'm allowing my body to distract me.
Your breath. It was like
The only we could hear. Right?
like, why was that such a visceral reaction of yours? Just
Well, we're probably about 75% done. My boy Benny. Benny's been A1 from day one. You come to Indianapolis, you got to go see him. We'll make sure we leave the handle down below. Make sure you leave his contact. You got to come see Benny. If you're looking for a spiritual tattoo, he's the man.
I appreciate you guys, man.
Yeah, appreciate you, Benny.
What's up.
You got a better eye than I do, because today was just another day to me. Like I said, I talk probably a lot more than I normally do, but it's really cool because I've always done this. I've always been this. I've always pretended that somebody was following me around with a camera, always. And now it's like, wow, it's kind of like what I do now for a living. In order to see it, you first had to be it. In order to see it, you first had to be it. Woo!